Stampers, it's Judy Klock here at Stampin' with Crafty Klock, and it is so good to be back here with you all. I'm in my new workspace. It's not quite done. I have enough done to do this demo, but the rest of it outside camera range kind of looks like a disaster. But you know what? We got to start back somewhere, so here I am tonight. So I'm so excited to show you tonight the Flowers of Friendship. This is one of the new bundles that's in the new annual catalog, and I will be featuring this bundle for my June class. And in June, I'm going to have two options, either a to-go class where we can do it via Zoom, or an in-person class. Hey Mel, how you doing? I got to catch up one of these days. So anyway, I did two cards for tonight. One is really just simple stamping. It's just very basic stamping using one color ink and the punch. And that is this one here, featuring the new polished pink and that new beautiful in color vellum. Can you see the shimmer in that vellum? It's a little bit heavier than our regular vellum, and it definitely has a little bit of sparkle to it. And then we're going to step it up, and we're going to get creative with a little bit of a fun fold, lots of die punching, some coloring with our Stampin' blends, and some die cuts. I couldn't even think of the word. I'm so tired today. So these are our two cards for tonight. So let's go ahead and let's get started with our simple stamping card. And again, this is something that really any beginner stamper can do. It's very, very easy. So I took a piece of our new polished pink, and I have to say I was quite surprised at how much I liked this color. I didn't expect to like it quite as much as I do. But I think it's become one of my new favorite colors. I was kind of digging the fresh freesia at first, but the more I play with the pink, the more I really like it. So we've got our card base. It's 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4.25. I'm going to add a piece of our basic white. And to this piece, I'm going to take that long line of flowers, and I'm just going to stamp that along the bottom in polished pink. We're going to do everything in the polished pink tonight because, again, a beginner stamper may not have a lot of supplies, so we want to show them that you can get great results just using limited supplies. That's it. That's as simple as we're going to get, but it's going to just add a little bit of a pizzazz. And I do apologize. That was the AC unit going, or the heat. I don't know what it is. The hot water heater, something. Jim hasn't boxed everything in yet, so it might still be a little noisy. I'm kind of working on this part-time in between working his real job, so it's going to take a couple of months for everything to be 100% finished. But this was finished enough for me to start unpacking my stuff and to find things. And we're just going to lay that right inside. And this basic white is 4 by 5.25. That's it for the inside. Okay. Don't forget, leave me a hello, give me a thumbs up, a heart, something, because I will be entering you in a drawing for these cards probably over the weekend. I like to give people a little bit of time. Then I'm going to take our large flower stamp, and I am just going to stamp this in polished pink, and I'm just going to do a random pattern. I'm not really going to pay attention to how or where or what. I just want it to look very, very random. Some might be stamped off. Some will be partial. And some of it will be covered up by that evergreen. And maybe one more right there. Okay. That's it for that. Now I have here a piece of our Evening Evergreen Designer Series paper. This is 2 inches by 5.5, and we're just going to lay it down. And I don't know which side I like better, but I think I kind of like this one. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. And that's the beauty of our double-sided paper, is you can decide what side you like better. I'm excited because Saturday we're doing our May class, and it featured all the new in colors. So I'm pretty excited for that. I really like these colors. Okay, so there we have that. Now I have some of that new vellum, the in color vellum with that little bit of shimmer and shine, and we are just going to punch out some flowers. We're going to punch out I lost the punch. There it is. It's underneath the stamp set. We're going to punch out 2 big pink ones and 2 little pink ones. And again, doesn't really matter how you do it. And the reason why we're doing the 2 little pink ones is because when we use the Stampin' Dimensionals, if you have the little flower in there, that will help hide the Stampin' Dimensionals so you can't see it. The other ones we're going to put on with glue dots. And the glue dots almost become invisible with the vellum. Okay, and then we're going to punch out 3 of the small purple ones. 1. I should have done some of these ahead of time, but there we go. And this is about, I don't know, 1 inch to 1 1/4 inch wide strip of vellum. And the reason I made it so narrow was because you've got all those other things in there. So I didn't want to have it too wide and cut out a whole bunch of pieces that I don't really need. Okay, so that's it for our vellum. Let's put our flowers over here and get rid of all these little pieces. These are the extra pieces from the leaves and everything else. Okay, so now I'm going to take my purple flowers and I'm just going to use my bone folder and I'm just gently going to kind of curl up the edges on all my flowers. It just gives it a little bit more dimension. And again, this does rip easily. I ripped some earlier when I was doing my sample. So just be gentle when you're going to curl it. It doesn't take much. Okay, and then before I put anything down, I'm going to just kind of look at my placement to make sure I have it where I want it. I'm going to do the same thing with the big ones. I'm just going to use my bone folder to gently curl the edges. And these are going to be, okay, then we're just going to figure out where we want to place these. And maybe I think that looks kind of nice. Okay, so we're going to take glue dots and we're going to put down the purple flowers are going to be just right on the designer series paper. And then we're going to pop up those large pink ones with a dimensional. And I was using the mini dimensionals for this because I don't want them to really be seen. Okay, put one there. And now see here, you can see that, I don't know if you can see it, but you can kind of see the dimensional. So that's where our little flowers come in. And we're just going to put a glue dot on here. And we're going to kind of turn them so they kind of fill in those empty spaces on the bigger flower. Okay, now that hides it. So you can't really see the dimensional because those other smaller flowers are kind of hiding it. So it's not quite as noticeable as it was. Now I'm going to take some in-color gems, if I can get them out of the bag, that is. Okay, this is just not working for me tonight. Okay, there we go. When all else fails, just rip the bag. Okay, so we're going to take some in-color gems, and I'm going to take 2 of the pink ones. You could use the yellow ones or I guess the pale papaya ones if you wanted. I was just keeping everything in the same color family. Now again, this is an optional step. You don't need to do this. If you like the flowers just the way they are, you can leave them. If you're a beginner and you don't have a lot of supplies, you don't have to do this. Again, I just had them, so I figured I would add it because who doesn't like a little bling? All right, so now the last thing we're going to do is we are going to punch out a sentiment for our front of the card. And I am using one of our new punches. This is, I think, in the Simply Elegant suite. And I am just going to punch it out. And if you don't have a punch, you can use any kind of punch. You can cut your paper in a square. You can punch a circle. You can punch any shape you want. I just happen to have this new one, so I thought I would play with it tonight. And again, I'm going to stamp it in polished pink. And it just says, little card, big thanks. Okay, and we're going to just pop that on there with some more dimensionals. And then this card will be done. So again, it's a very easy card that I think any beginner stamper would be able to do and be quite successful, because there's just not a lot of stamping. You know, the random pattern with the floral to create that background and that line in the front and just a little sentiment. And I think we're good to go. I kind of want to put that underneath the flower. There we go. All right. Card number 1, done. All right. Let's move on to card number 2. So for this card, I took a piece of our Daffodil Delight, 8.5 by 5.5. I scored it at 4 1/4, and I also scored it at 1 1/4, and we're going to fold that back. So it's going to create just like a little bit of strip here, and a little bit of white will be shown. On the basic white, I took the small flower stamp and I stamped that in our Daffodil Delight. Bear with me. I didn't have everything put out tonight. Don't forget, leave me a comment, say hello, give me a like or a thumbs up or a heart, and I will enter you in for a chance to win these cards. And I just got something there, so I'm going to flip it over because I got that dirty and I don't like that. So let's try this one more time. I still haven't found my baby wipes that I usually keep down here. So, yikes. I'm working. I'm trying to find things as I go. The one thing that I haven't found yet and that I need desperately is the ink for my computer printer. And it's in a box somewhere. But I'll be darned if I've been able to identify it. Then I took the little leaf stamp and I stamped that in our Mint Macron, and you'll see why I'm using these in a minute, because these colors match with that beautiful designer series paper from our hand penned suite, which is the suite we're featuring for our Stampin' Bingo in June. So if you haven't registered, we have early bird pricing both for the Stampin' Bingo and for my class. Register by June 1st and you can get the early bird price. The price goes up after June 1st. Just a little FYI. Okay, so then we're going to put this inside. And it's going to go together. Again, this is going to go together kind of easy because I did some of the pre-work. Okay, now I cut a piece of Mint Macron to 3 by 5 1/4. Obviously, I did not do that by 3. I screwed that up. I think I did it to 3 3/4. Let me just fix that real quick. Oh, I know what I did. It was supposed to be 2 3/4. Okay, because we're going to put that right there. And that's just going to give us a little bit of contrast. It's going to pull out the Mint Macron from that strip of designer series paper we're going to use. And this designer series paper is so pretty. I really like it. Okay, so now I have a strip of the hand-penned designer series paper. This is 1 inch by 5 1/4. And we're just going to put that right there. Okay, so it's just another little way of, doing something different to a card to add a little bit of interest. Okay. And we're just going to put that right there. Okay, now on a piece of basic white, we're going to stamp a large flower in our memento. And the reason we're using our memento is because we're going to color it with our Stampin' Blend. So actually you need 3 of these, but I kind of did some earlier just to make it sure that we would have time to get this all done. And I'm also going to stamp one of the smaller ones. Now you'll notice that I stamped this one straight up and down, and I kind of stamped this one like with the petals at like 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock or 10 o'clock and 5 o'clock, whatever you want to call it. The reason I did that is because if you look at the punch, the larger flower is kind of straight up and down, and the little flower is kind of on an X. So that's why I did that. It's just going to make it easier to punch out. The paper will fit in your punch a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to punch that one out. And then we're going to go in here and punch this one out. And you see how much nicer that fit now because I did that. Just a little tip, if you're going to work with this, it's just kind of punch them on the strips of paper, you know, the way they are in the punch. It just will make it easier when you go to punch out that flower. All right, let's put this away. Okay, then I took our Highland Heather Stampin' Blends. I took light and dark. And I took the light and I just kind of colored in these 4 petals real quick. And again, because these are alcohol based, they are very responsive to the touch. So just a very light touch will put a lot of color down on your paper. You don't have to press very hard. So they are a great marker, great coloring tool. I like working with them. And you can add depth by adding more layers. You'll see we're going to go back over this in a minute with our dark Highland Heather. And we're going to do the same. We're just going to color the outsides of this with our light Highland Heather. I'm just going to kind of outline those flowers. Now, the center on this one's not going to be seen because this one's going to sit on top of it. So you can leave that center blank. You can color it in. You can do whatever you want. On the smaller flower, we are going to see that center. So you have a couple of choices. You can color it purple. You can color it, you know, a lighter color, a yellow and orange or something, or you could just put a rhinestone in. And of course, you know, I'm going for the bling and I'm going to put a rhinestone. So I'm coming in with the dark Highland Heather. I'm going to color in the center of the small flower, just like that. And I might come back over it just to really make sure it's dark. And then on the larger flower, I'm just kind of going to go over those stamped black lines just to kind of give the flower a little bit of dimension. Okay, you're not going to see very much of that, but you will see a little bit of it. We're just going to go put a little bit more, another little layer there, and we're going to come back here and do another little layer here. Okay, and you can go over that as many times as you want to really get that deeper color. But here we have all of our flowers. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and we're going to layer these up. So I'm going to use our glue dots again, if I can find them. I always seem to lose my supplies mid-demo. All right, and again, we're going to layer these on top of the larger one, kind of at a little angle, kind of an offset. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing with all of our little flowers. Okay. There we go. And one more. Make sure I get all my little glue dots up. Come on. Sometimes they don't always want to come up. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to layer these on with our dimensionals. And I'm going to put one kind of here to help hold. Can you see that? To kind of help hold that down. And then we're going to put another one just kind of over here. And then maybe our last one, if I can get another dimensional on it, over here. Okay, now I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to add some leaves. So I took the larger leaf stamp from our kit, from our stamp set, not really a kit. And then I took the mint macron again, and I just started stamping some leaves. Now, here's another little tip. If you think you're going to hit the yellow, just put a piece of scrap paper there, and that will protect it from going on to the yellow. Okay, and maybe just one more right. Kind of right there. Okay. So now we've added some leaves, and I just stuck my thumb in the stamp pad, so yay me. Let me see if I can find my chamois. Okay. Then I used our new scallop dies. These are from the Contours, Color and Contours bundle, and these are the scalloped contour dies, and look at how gorgeous these are. So I can't wait. I couldn't play with them earlier because I didn't have my stamp cut and emboss machine out, but now I have it out so I can go ahead and play with those. I can't wait to use all of those. So I used this little one tonight, and we're going to stamp thank you for everything. And we're going to stamp that in our Highland Heather. We're just going to keep everything in the Highland Heather on the outside. And I am just having a rough go of it here. Okay. All right. We have that. Let's go ahead and add that with some Stampin' Dimensionals. Probably 2 would be enough for this. And there, and we're gonna like kind of have it overhang a little bit, because there you go. That is our 2 cards for this evening. Our simple stamping card featuring our Flowers of Friendship bundle and the little punch from Simply Elegant, and our more advanced card. Oh, I forgot to add the rhinestones. Oh my goodness, let me add my rhinestones. What is a card without a little bling? And you see how those rhinestones just kind of really cover up those centers of those flowers and just give it a little bit of pop of shimmer. And if you even want to go a little bit further, if you really want to go over the top, pull out your Wink of Stella and give those flowers some shimmer. Who doesn't love a little bit of Wink of Stella? Since we had the vellum with the other card that had a little bit of shimmer in it, let's go ahead. All right, that's it for me for tonight. Hopefully I'll be back again next week with some more, and hopefully my room will even be progressed and more organized. But I hope you all have a great weekend. Enjoy this. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you next week here at Stampin' with Crafty Klock. Bye.